Welcome to FCC Supporters Square. For fans, by fans, and about fans. Here are your hosts, Mark Subin and Matt Warman. Of course I missed you too. It's been 2+ weeks since I last got to talk to you. Oh, and I mean Mark as well. But I mean, mostly you, but obviously a little bit Mark. Welcome, hello, hi. Life has been really getting away for me. He might get more life in his way coming up in the future. So we'll figure out how we're going to do all of this. But hey, welcome. We are so happy because Porter Shield might be coming to Cincinnati. We don't know yet. It's still where it's with where, in case you forgot who we are, I am your host, Matt Warman, my co-host, my ride or die, Mark Van Suppen. Van Suppen now. Is that right? Thank you. And as promised, we have a special guest, somebody I know kind of well. Looks familiar because it's my daughter Terra. The New York City game that happened a couple of weeks ago, and how that worked. But first, let's talk about Saturday night. A magical night for more than one reason. Obviously, a 3-0 victory is always magical. Beating Charlotte and becoming the real Queen City. All the queens were the real queens, I guess. So, thoughts on last Saturday's game, Mark?
Matt, hey, good to see you. Good to see you too, Tara.
Good to see you.
Beautiful evening here in Cincinnati, and I couldn't be happier for that win against Charlotte. What a statement win! One that we have seen a lot of struggling recently, and we needed a solid win, and boy, did it ever deliver. I mean, can you imagine the beautiful goal by Barriel only being upstaged by a MVP performance by Lucho Acosta? I mean, you couldn't ask for better.
Oh my God.
Granted, I'll say this. It did not get the AT&T goal of the week because Clickbait FC that resides in the city of St. Louis, they clicked and they got their man goal of the week. But we know what an MVP performance is. We got it Saturday, and how beautiful it was.
I just got to say, like, I caught the very end of the game, and then I'm watching the highlights, like walking down the street on my phone, and I'm like walking through Brooklyn, like screaming my head off, like scaring people, wait for the bus, like, oh my God, that goal, the penalty, oh my God. So don't worry, we felt it in New York too.
Excellent.
That was a magical goal. Really close to midfield. See that pass come right to Lucho, not too very far from me. He beats that man, and we're like, okay, that was covers and tries to get after him again, and he just shrugs him off, even though he's a foot shorter. And then the other guy slide tackles, and he just puts him. Oh my gosh! Now it's on. What's he gonna do? He'll dribble it a couple of times and then pass it to somebody and have a one-on-one. But no, he picks on two defenders. That is probably the greatest goal I have witnessed live. And I thought Barriel's goal was an experiment. Barriel's FIFA goal of the year, or Lucho's MLS goal of the year. I don't believe either of them, but what do you think? If you had to choose between what Lucho did?
I don't know. I'm an Acosta girly, so that's probably where I'm gonna go. Yeah.
Mark? There's no wrong answers because they're both great.
I'm going with Barriel. You can practice that all you want, but it's got to come together in a match. And granted, it was against Pittsburgh, but nonetheless, it was this beautiful goal was done in Pitt,
In
from
the
a set
middle of the
piece.
game.
Yes, and it was just amazing. So it is FIFA Goal of the Year, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness. I was literally behind the goal by that corner. Particular game. And we all just took about half a second. That ball went in the back of the net. We saw it. Lost our minds. That was just amazing. I mean, that was just a special goal. Shout out to Varial and FIFA for that was to be recognized as one of the best goals in the world is amazing. But seeing that Acosta with the big run is just absolutely crazy.
Well, and the thing I love about him is he's like consistent and he's amazing to watch too. Like, not only are the goals flashy, which like makes the game really fun, but just like consistently right where you need him to be, consistently just making the experience of soccer just like on the edge of your seat.
There is a highlight reel of like nutmegs. I think just this year, mostly they're just nutmegging people, like consistently nutmegging you. Not like 2 or 3 really good ones, like almost all of them.
You gotta send that to me.
Yeah, it's on the FC Cincinnati site. They have a lot of. That's why I love the USL, but going to the MLS, seeing that live, seeing Messi live, this was the whole reason why we wanted. We did that in the USL, and that was a blast. But I think this one's going to be even more special. And from one extra mark, actual supporters get to hold that shield.
Oh, you're talking about the shield? Ooh, baby.
So I'm hoping to see it and maybe, touch it. That'd be cool. I don't know.
I don't know,
but that's gonna be awesome.
I read an article, and you'll have to excuse me because, like, for me, your sound is cutting like kind of in and out. No shade, but like, I'm like, I get the beginning of the sentence and the end of the sentence, and I'm like, I think I know what I'm talking about. But I read an article that like, so this is like a fan trophy, right? So like people of like, what did they say? Like elite members of like the Pride and Hanger. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, people from Hanger. I don't remember the numbers. And the German one.
937.
Yes, and
Yep.
Die in the Stad. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know your fan names. But like those 3 groups are gonna be sort of the keepers of the shield while it's ours. I don't know. I'm so curious to hear about like what those duties like entail. I hear it's not like a formal handoff or anything. I hear they just mail like an 80-pound shield in its case to people, and that's really amazing though to see how the fans like come together and like support these traditions. That's really cool.
I would hope the brigade gets to at least look at it.
Oh yeah. Basically, Supporter Shield is in fact the best record in the MLS. I'm looking forward to seeing that in TQL Stadium. If not exactly when we clinch, but the next home match that we have after we've clinched. I'm excited for this. We could clinch this Saturday, but we should definitely get a win in Toronto. I'm surprised we don't, but the Supporter Shield is ours for the taking, and we're this close to it. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, and then have a big celebration next match on Wednesday.
I hope it's the 21st. I really do, because I will be missing that match. I have a well-deserved vacation coming up next week. So I'm hoping to hold that. So let's talk briefly about the match before we bring in our guest. Lucho's been struggling with some heel injury. He's kind of doing the Joe Burrow where he's practicing, but fully, kind of partially. Do you see Lucho playing on Saturday, or not at all, or coming off the bench? What do you think, Mark?
Um, I'm a little concerned too. I have not seen anything definitive that he's not going to play, but certainly we all can just definitely say if he's not in the lineup, then FCC needs a lot of help to get the win. Now we've won. We can see we've won without Miazga, but Lucho's another story. So let's go up this Saturday and oh Canada, let it rain a W for FCC.
Very much excited about that. I think we're gonna win. I'm gonna be down in Florida drinking rum and pineapple. That's my drink of choice. So when I'm in a tropical clime, it will probably be Friday we win the Supporter Shield, given the Ope years. Shout out to Opes. Having to have two wooden spoons and to hear it from particularly that stupid team up north about that. Having a Supporter Shield keeps them quiet for a little bit. Putting a star on my chest will really keep them quiet.
Oh yeah.
They'll say they have more, but I don't care. That the second star they won was with like 12 games against the worst team in the league, which happened to be us. So
yeah, it should have an asterisk with it. Yeah,
it should be a star and an asterisk. That's really what it should be.
Very true.
A star probably goes to Austin anyway. It'd be funny if Austin had the star.
Yeah.
But that's banter for another day. What do you think the scoreline is, Tara, on Saturday's game against Toronto?
We've been playing really, really well, so I'm gonna say that we're gonna go pretty high about it. I would love to see another 3 out of us, maybe like a 3-2 to make it kind of edgy. But like I'd love another shutout. I could see a 2-0 too, though. Like again, no shade Toronto, but like I could see it pretty high.
Worst team in the league, but at their place.
Matt, we've won.
Well, we're really good. So
Matt, we've won many matches 3-0, and I don't see that as any different this Saturday up in Toronto. This is the worst team in the league. We better not play as their worst team in the league. We better come out on fire. 3-0 should be the victory for us.
I think that's a fantastic. I think a 3-3. Didn't we beat them here 3-0?
Yes.
And we kind of took our foot off their throats after 3-0, if I remember correctly. There still was some time to do that. So I don't see any reason why, given the form. Now, if they want to rest Lucho and bring him in like the 60th minute, if we need him for a score and we win 1-0 or 2-1, I don't have a problem with that either. The point is 3 points to bring home from. We got to import it. It has to go through customs, but those 3 points will be shipped to Cincinnati this Saturday.
Amen.
That's what I really like. One last thing before we start our interview is there was no Messi yesterday in the U.S. Open Cup. I personally feel really bitter that we had Messi and all that Messi circus, but we had him beat and we let him off the hook. That game could have been played here in Cincinnati yesterday. That would have been our first piece of hardware. We would have been up for the treble still. Messi-less, they looked listless, lifeless. The 8 chumps that they actually have, plus the 3 Barca teams or Real Madrid teams, the top flight and others. So what was your thoughts on the US Open Cup, Mark?
Only caught the highlights. My work was pretty busy last night, so did not get to plant down and watch a full 90 minutes of Messi-less football. But Messi FC is only Messi FC if Messi is actually on the pitch. So the injuries to poor Jordi Alba, who just has muscle fatigue. Well, guess what? I wake up and have muscle fatigue every single day. So
I do my job.
Jordi Alba, there's a nursing home for you. Go get it, my man. I'm not. Houston was on the front foot the whole match. I watched the highlights, and they just seemed to be. They wanted this victory. They wanted it, and they got it. Go Orange, I guess, and great victory for Houston. They are the real deal. So I'm happy for them. I think all the air is coming out of the big balloon that is Messi FC, and I'm just glad the air is coming out. And right now, they're only Toronto is looking up at them right now, and unless they create some miracle process that they get into the playoffs, it's going to be tough sledding for them.
I concur wholeheartedly. I am so glad it's interesting. Some highlights. They go to Orlando. Orlando needed that game against a Messi-less Miami. That is a rivalry game. That is their team up north.
Yes,
actually, for them it's a team down south. But you get the point. In that they came out flat, lifeless.
Yep.
They stole a point. I mean, I kind of vaguely was rooting for them because I didn't want to root for Messi FC. I really appreciate that term. That's really what they are. Their three fans true fans can argue with me if they want, but I'm going to that game next, not this coming Saturday, but the first Saturday in October. I am going to Miami. So happens to be on vacation, and we actually chose it the day before Messi announced. But we got our tickets. Way expensive for away match, more expensive than a home match. Let's put it that way. For official away seats. But if Messi has still got scar tissue, we may not see him, and it may be a 2-0 game, and that's just added padding to our resume, and we'll keep him out of the playoffs. I'm looking forward to that. So the reason why I asked my daughter here is not because nepotism, although it does help, is that for the Sheila, Terra was born and raised here in Cincinnati, but as a creative person, felt the urge to go to New York, and that was almost the more than 10 years ago.
10. It was 10 in September. It was 10 years in September that I moved here.
So she's spent almost as much time of her life in New York as she is here in Cincinnati. So she has an affinity, but she doesn't come here very often. She comes to visit, short visits, and the very first season we went to it was my birthday. She dressed up and went to the Pittsburgh game on my birthday, and that was fun. And my son went too. And actually, we sat in the Bailey. That was for the first time as well, very first season. It was all very much fun, but she hasn't had a chance to do things. So she called me up a couple of months ago and said, we're planning a trip. I'm bringing like 10 of my friends, and they've never been to the city, or they're from the city. I'm going to let you explain the rest of this, Terra.
Yeah, so like he was explaining, my very first game was when they were still like minor leagues at Nippert, and I've been like a theater girly my whole life, and there's always this thing about like, oh, sports ball, I don't understand. And like that first game that we went to, I mean, it was as everybody remembers, it's all the chanting and the energy and the movement and the walking down the thing to the field, and I was like, oh my, wait, can I swear on this podcast?
No.
Okay. No, this is what I gotta ask. I was like, oh my God. this is cool. And then the game was wonderful. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I get it. And so I've been like watching sports and stuff. And so what led us to planning this trip was like really, and we were like driving in the car past like Yankee Stadium. And somebody made the comment in the car, like, oh man, NYCFC plays at Yankee Stadium. And we were like, yeah, they kind of blow, don't they? No. And I was like, yo, have you ever like, Cincinnati has like a whole thing. And I started explaining it to them. I'm like, oh, it's the marching and the chanting. And like my dad's like really into it. And he spray painted his car to look like the colors and it's the whole thing. And they were like, that actually sounds really sick. So initially it was just gonna be me and like two other friends like from New York. They were like, well, we promise we'll pretend like not to be NYCFC fans. We're going to sit in the Bailey. We're going to do the whole thing. And so 3 of us showed up and then 2 other people found out and they're like, that sounds fun. I want to come stay at our house. And then, yeah, oh my God, that's our picture. And then like some friends from Chicago drove in and then some people were already there. And then it like something that was supposed to be like 3 people turned into 10 people. And we stormed the Bailey. We were at the front of the march. And oh my God, that march, by the way, that was so cool. There's a moment we're sitting at the bar with him and like I know that this man's a big deal. Like I know dad is like, like a mascot essentially. And I explained this to them, but we roll into the bar and he just starts chanting and my friends turn to me and they're like, oh, I get it. I get where you get it and I get what this is now. But no more did they get it when we're standing there, we're drinking a beer at that bar. And the march is coming down the street and he's standing in the center of the street and me and my friend Oli are standing behind him and the master of the march, the person at the front, comes and they like clasp arms and it's like, brother, we march together. It was awesome. And I gotta say, just like one other thing, one of the most amazing things that I saw. So like I said, I grew up in Cincinnati and there's all these these banners being woven around. There's the lion and the dots and a lot of really amazing to see like red and orange banners. And one of the banners, this is super important to me, is like the queer banner that is up there and to see like queer representation just like fully outright up front in the people with the flags. It was really amazing because a lot of times, sports to like queer people can feel like, ooh, it's like a macho thing that we can't participate in. And to see like Cincinnati sort of just be, yeah, man, I want soccer for everyone. Come on, gays, let's go get it. Like that was really nice because most of the people in my group are like some version of queer. So it was like, oh, okay, okay, I'm ready. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I saw you. There's a picture of you running around, I think on somebody's shoulder, waving the pride flag around.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
And I gotta say, those flags are way harder to wave than you think they are. You're just like, oh, it's left, right. It is not. It is difficult.
So now people wave that flag for 90 minutes plus.
Respect.
Plus.
And the people who do the chanting, the people who were in front of us, we had a lovely person with like a tattoo on their head. They like have the energy to hold. I cannot believe they stand the whole time and just go. Like that was, I haven't seen it that up close before.
It's a sight to behold. And you got to see my very favorite thing in the whole world is that goal celebration, the sha-na-na.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was
everybody
so cool.
goes nuts.
Was that one for the first one? Because okay, I'm taking it back a couple of weeks because that was the NYCFC game. You probably already talked about it, but the goal that they scored 5 minutes into the game, when it was like, shoot, oh, miss, oh, he hit it, oh, he headed it in. That was such a roller coaster for me. And like, yes. I dragged people to this game. They came for like the energy, and then that happened, and it was like, and we were in from that, like set the tone for the whole thing. We were drinking, we were screaming. It was awesome.
That is soccer. Soccer is for everybody, and it shows off our city. So can you talk about not Tico Stadium? First, I would want to hear about what you thought about Tico Stadium, but not being in the city for a couple of years and bringing some people in from New York who are granted a little jaded about this. What were their thoughts about our city?
Man, they had a really great time. I know that everybody shits on that on the rail that goes around in a circle because it really doesn't kind of go to anywhere anyone needs to get. But we were just chilling out in OTR, and to have like free public transit, that was, we New Yorkers have like opinions about our public transit. So that was a very cool thing. I took them to Rheingeist. They really loved the space. I took them to 8-Bit or like the barcade there. That was really cool. They loved the food. Um, Everyone was perplexed about how often we had to get into a car. But yeah, people found it very like, the energy was really interesting. I took a couple of my friends to Findlay Market, and it was amazing to see just like a diverse group of people, but also like how hard people rep the city while they're in the city. Cause like we saw Bengals shirts, we saw FCC guys, we saw people repping their local farm market. People are just like really feeling love for the city. And more than just sports, and like in the hobbies they choose to pursue, and the things that they support, and the arts and all of that. And it's really cool to see what like, look, I was at the Opera House like about 10 years ago, and you couldn't walk around that part of town. It was real sketchy. And it's really beautiful to see everything coming together. And they were also really excited because booze is very expensive here. They're like, what? I can get a beer for $2? Okay. So it was lit.
We did have a good time. That's
yeah.
that's
And on
so
that note,
yeah,
you'd be surprised actually. I run into Cincinnatians in New York City like every day. There's so many people from Cincinnati in New York.
Yeah.
And I don't know those Auxilia One guys, but I hear they're legit.
They are legit. That is true.
I think they came the week before the cheer on the victory. And I think we have going to play at the Red Bulls here in a little while. They're gearing up for that as well, I think. I can't remember.
Nice.
So yeah, so do you think that you might have your friends do this like once a year or every other year to come back to the stadium and do it again?
Oh man, definitely. Like I know that I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna make a point of going. It's like especially to the home games to do all the marching and stuff. It's interesting now because more people have been asking us how our experience was, and we were like, it was incredible. We got our faces painted. It was crazy. And so other people are like, I would like to go. Maybe I could go. And we're like, ooh, yes, come with us. So definitely more people are interested.
You're not a huge stadium aficionado, but what did you think of TQL Stadium?
My very first impression, I'm gonna be honest, is just like it came out of nowhere. Because I remember that part of town before it was the stadium, and I'm like, I wonder where the stadium is. And we're walking around and like over the Rhine, and I'm like, oh my god, it's right there! Holy crap!
Yeah.
So I don't know. It feels like, I don't know how, I don't want to get too political. I know that there's a lot of things about like the housing stuff around the situation and stuff. It seems really beautiful. It seems very good for the city. It seems good for the economy. It was easy to find food, and the food was not too expensive, by New York standard at least. I love those stairs at the beginning. It gives you a real cool, like gladiatorial, like feeling. It's very accessible too, which is really cool. So, yeah, I love those stairs. That's just such an awesome feeling. It's unlike a lot of big other stadiums, like Madison Square Garden. You can kind of slip in through a back door and be like, "Am I actually in here?" It's so cool to have that amazing entrance. That happened to me the other week. But
Name
yeah,
dropper.
I'm from New York. I don't know if you know this, but but it was really cool.
I see the shamrock behind you, so we're all set.
I was gonna say I sat down at a Celtic pub, so I figured it
Who
was all
knew?
good.
You're drinking Jameson. That's all Mark's gonna tell you.
Well, I'm about to go see a play, so if I drink like whiskey, I'm gonna pass out in the middle of the play no matter what. So I'm just drinking like an IPA right now.
just so you know,
always the Jameson. Always the Jameson.
just so you know, tell them where you work at.
Oh, so I work at Widow Jane Distillery in Red Hook. It is a New York-based bourbon and rye company. They're super, super good. It's a very lovely place to live and work. Well, I don't live in Red Hook, but I'm there 40 hours a week, so I basically live there. But it's really, really great. I learned, actually, this is a cool thing. So I just recently went on the Galactic Star Cruiser in Disneyland because I'm a huge like immersive theater person and Star Wars person, and I'm a big old nerd, obviously. So I went on the Galactic Star Cruiser and we're sitting there in our alien outfits, and we're like, "Oh, what's this drink made of?" And the dude's like, "It's made out of space Widow Jane," and we're like, "Wait, what?" So apparently, Widow Jane is like the rail in Disney. It's they just, you get a whiskey cocktail at Disney, it's gonna be Widow Jane, and nobody knew. I told them, and we were like, "Huh, that's funny." Like, what? I don't know how this craft bourbon from Brooklyn like ended up in Disneyland, but like, hopes and dreams, baby.
And
So it's a cool thing.
I'll be coming out a couple of weeks to see your fair town to kind of repay the favor. So we're almost out of time here. I think we've covered all the bases. I'm so happy to see you, of course, and I will be seeing you soon. I'm happy to see you, my fans, because I haven't seen you because we're getting close to episode 25. I'm not sure if this is it or we have one more. We appreciate you guys listening. So who is that in your background before we leave?
Well, Matt, I want to thank you for letting me post this beautiful picture of a beautiful man. His name is Art Schneering, and Art Schneering worked with me for 2 years at Roto-Rooter doing IT support. This is a man that graduated from the University of Cincinnati with an IT degree and worked at different jobs, including a long time at Cintas, and then came to us in his last 2 years. Sadly, this wonderful, beautiful man passed away last Saturday, and we attended his funeral yesterday. I just thought, in solidarity for our IT folks out there, this is the IT union that we have, and we lost a good one in Mr. Art last Saturday.
There you go. Like they said, life gets in the way, and sometimes life gets out of the way to this extent. This is why we do these kinds of things. We try to, while we have our time here, to hang out, have a good time, have some silly banner, be a couple of knuckleheads. That's why we're doing this. And hopefully next time we talk to you, we will have a shield of some sort, of some weight, in our hands, in our grasp, and then looking forward to having all of the playoffs, except for, I guess, one here in Cincinnati, here with you good fine people, and of course with Mark and from afar, Terra. So any last words, Terra, before we end?
I suppose I do bleed blue. Orange and blue. Yeah, cut myself the other day and I was like, that's awkward. But I love FC Cincinnati. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being so supportive and welcoming to all kinds of people. And I'm so excited we're doing so well. This is really exciting. Like, sometimes Cincinnati teams are really bad, and it's super cool to be seeing like a lot of Cincinnati teams flourishing. So I'm hyped about the city. I'm hyped about our sports.
I can't think of a better way to end this particular broadcast. Mark, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Good to see
I don't
you, sir.
know when we'll do this again, a couple of weeks maybe. We'll see what happens, because you know how life is. But we're happy to see you, and thank you for listening to FCC Supporter Square. We'll talk to you next time.